In this next section, we will discuss how the offset function works. The offset function is typically used to sew applique, and what it does is it simply takes the embroidery field and it offsets it to a different position so that we can put things like applique material down, and then it returns back to the sewing field. A couple examples of applique I have right here. Notice the area of blue is filled in with applique material rather than stitches. If you'll notice, the blue field is sewn with material rather than stitches. What that allows us to do is cut down on the running time of the embroidery machine, as well as give texture and sheen to that particular area. The next example that I have would be basic lettering. Okay, and this is a very common type of applique where you're either sewing lettering like this or a tackle twill type lettering onto a garment. The way the applique feature works, we simply call in a design as normal. This is the part that changes. We're not going to do anything with the basic settings because we don't need to change the size nor the angle. Okay? What we do need to do is go into the needle settings. This is the first major difference between calling in a design using the offset function and a standard design. So we go down to needle settings and then press the set key. As we're putting in our colors, the first thing to sew in an applique design is the outline stitch. And in this particular example, I'm going to sew it in a green color. So I'm going to assign that needle. Now we would want the frame to go to the offset position. So we have to tell it at this point in time to offset. So we've put in our first color. Now we want to tell it when to do an offset. And the way we do that is we press the CL button. And you will notice in the color assortment now that it's F, which is needle number 15, then a little O. The little O stands for offset. Now we would want it to do the tack down stitch, which is needle number 15 again. And then it's going to sew the inner lettering, which in this case we're going to sew with a blue. So that's needle number 5. Again, we're going to press CL for it to do a second offset, and then needle number 5 again. When we're finished with our color assortment, we would press the set button twice to lock in the colors. We now hit the previous button to take us out, and the design is called in. The next step is to go to the number 1 needle position and to center the hoop. We've already taken the liberty to do those two functions just for the sake of time savings. We're now going to do the trace. So we go into the subwork function. We go down to our optimized trace or our design trace. In this particular example, we're going to use the design trace and press the set key. It's now telling us to start this. And we watch the trace. And we can see that this design will clearly fit within the area of this hoop. Okay, we hit the previous button to come out of trace, and now we need to tell the machine how to do an offset. We have to turn the actual offset function on. So we do that by pressing the offset button, and now it is looking for the starting point. The starting point is our center point. So we simply press the set button. Now, using these pantograph movement controls, we move the frame straight out, just far enough so we can lay the applique material down, because it is looking for the middle offset point. And we press the set button. It is now looking for the offset point, which we're going to use as the same place as the middle offset. So I simply press the set button one last time. We are now ready to sew the design. We press the start button. And what's going to happen is the machine will first sew an outline stitch so that we know where to place this applique material. Once the outline stitch is completed, you will notice the frame comes to an offset position. So now what we would do is take our applique material, flip it over, and spray the back of it with a light tack spray adhesive, which will temporarily hold this material in place until the tack down stitches hold it down. When you spray this light tack adhesive, you really want to be spraying this away from the equipment so that the overspray doesn't clog up the machine. We'll now take the applique that has been sprayed and simply line it up with our outline stitch. You want to be very careful with this and make this as accurate as you possibly can. The other thing you want to do is place your hand, one hand on top and one hand underneath to support your pressing down on the hoop so you don't accidentally press the garment right out of the hoop. Once the applique material is in place, press the start button again. That will undo the offset. And since we have the same color programmed twice in a row, we have to hit the start button one more time to undo the color change stop. The machine will now sew the tack down stitch and finish our applique. You will notice now as we finish this applique that the machine will go back to center and come back to the offset point. At this point in time, we would simply remove this hoop, have the next garment already hooped and ready to go on the machine, put the next garment on, and simply press the start button to finish sewing any additional garments that we might have.